Okay, good afternoon. I did call Senator Van Hollen yesterday, but I made an error in my recording and there was no audio for a portion of the call. I called him regarding his questioning of Treasury Secretary Howard Lutnick, because during his questioning, Howard Lutnick admitted, after many, many denials, including to the New York Times in December, that he went to Jeffrey Epstein's island on after in like 2010 or 2012, after he had been convicted of soliciting minors. So I called to congratulate the senator on his line of questioning and also to see what the next steps were, because I don't think that people that hang out with convicted pedophiles should get to be in government. But his office, the aide in his office said, I can't really give you that information right now. So I don't really know if that means that there is a plan or what. But anyway, so that's just an update because I did make a call yesterday, but there wasn't a video. Anyway, so today I'm going to be calling Andy Ogles from the Tennessee Fifth, because he, let's see, I don't know if you could see this whole, if you can see his whole, he wrote a letter to the chairman of the Committee on Energy and Commerce, requesting that a formal inquiry be held to have the FCC investigate the NFL and NBC Universal for Bad Bunny's halftime show. The halftime performance, headlined by Bad Bunny, was aired live during primetime hours on over-the-air television and viewed by tens of millions of Americans, including a substantial number of children and families. The Super Bowl is consistently the largest family viewing event in American media. As such, broadcasters bear a heightened responsibility to ensure the programming aired during this uniquely national event complies with long-standing broadcast decency and expectations and serves the public interest. Yes, kind of, except that, when's the last time that we have enforced serving the public interest? I've done other videos in my Com 101 series about the FCC. Track widely known for explicit sexual references, a twerking themed song accompanied by choreography featuring overtly sexualized movement, including widespread twerking, grinding pelvic thrusts, and other sexually suggestive conduct. He's also mad that it was performed in Spanish. And so he wants the FCC to investigate the NFL and NBC Universal because of this. I think that it was one of the better halftime shows that I've seen in years. I didn't understand a lot of it because I don't speak Spanish. But it didn't seem anything more to me than salsa dancing. And I thought these people were too busy watching the TPUSA halftime show and that they weren't watching it. Pam Bondi spent the entire day today lying to Congress again about the Epstein files. So she's already lied about them because they existed, they were on her desk, they weren't on her desk, they didn't exist, they were a hoax. And then the whole DOJ is still not meeting the standards of, they have still actively are still breaking the law with regard to the Epstein files. And then she spent today lying in front of Congress again about the cover-up and basically just like refusing to answer questions. And I think it's more important that we get to the bottom of whose name is blacked out in some of these emails to Jeffrey Epstein. Like when Jeffrey Epstein writes to someone who is clearly a co-conspirator and said, you should dress up as Jesus because this victim, whose name is redacted, said that she feels God presence when she's in bed. And she knows that Jesus watches over her. And Jeffrey Epstein is then saying, you should dress up as him when you see her. So I think that's a little bit more pressing to our country right now than what Bad Bunny did or did not do during the Super Bowl. I don't know. I feel like most Americans probably feel that way. So let's call Andy and tell him that we think there's bigger fish to fry.
Hi, you've reached the office of Congressman Andy Ogles. If you're getting this message during normal business hours, all of our lines are busy. Please leave your name, number, home address, and nature of your call. We'll get back to you shortly. Thanks again for calling.
Hi, Congressman. I'm calling because you released a statement requesting that the FCC investigate the NFL and NBC Universal for Bad Bunny's halftime show, which I think you're wrong. There was no more lewd act than salsa dancing on screen, and I thought all of you people were supposed to be watching the TPUSA halftime show, so I don't really know what you think you might have saw. But don't you think that Congress should be more focused on the fact that Pam Bondi spent the entire day obfuscating questions from your colleagues about the co-conspirators in the Epstein files? If you're so concerned with children and families in America and children being exposed to sexually explicit material, don't you think it's more important that we be prosecuting the co-conspirators that worked with Jeffrey Epstein and not having a government cover-up for the people involved in those files? I think you have a lot to answer for. Pam Bondi should be impeached, disbarred, and prosecuted for lying under oath. And you should seriously consider what it is you're bringing to the table to your constituents and to all Americans, sir. Because if this is how you think you should be spending your time, you've got a lot to learn about what is actually proper and what is needed by American families. I didn't expect that he would answer. I was hoping that somebody from his office might pick up. But I'm so sick of these people and the hypocrisy of like, oh, somebody was salsa dancing, or maybe like, whatever. I don't know what the lyrics are. I don't speak Spanish. Like I said, I don't speak Spanish. I don't know what the lyrics to the songs are. I should look them up. But I also know how the FCC works, and I know that like, you can't commit a violation in Spanish. NBC would have dumped it. Like, they wouldn't have let it broadcast live. That's not how it works. If there was something that didn't meet broadcast standards, it would have been dumped. And, of course, over time, our standards have changed. Like, Lucy and Ricky used to sleep in 2 separate beds. We don't do that anymore on television. There's plenty of on network shows, innuendo and whatever else. But the idea that this man and this Congress and this government thinks that investigating a halftime show that was 14 and a half minutes long is more important than covering up for decades of pedophilia and abuse and violence towards children and women, and covering it up because it has to do with rich and powerful men the world over is disgusting. Call your representatives.